All right, good morning, One Hope Community Church members and friends, to our mid-year children's ministry service. My name's Scott. I have the best job in the world, which is leading the kids ministry at One Hope, and I have the pleasure of putting together a service where the kids have had a massive contribution, and I hope that you'll be blessed through them today. So to get started, we're going to worship God together through music, and the way that we're presenting our songs today is a fantastic illustration of how we can still join together in worship even while we're in separate locations. So first up, Alicia and the Manly Music families are going to lead us in a fun kids song that we regularly sing during our Manly Music sessions, and then Joel's going to lead us in a couple of songs that my man Tyson has handpicked out for us to sing today. So please join us in singing with us wherever you are.
Stronger, the King of glory, the King above all kings, who shakes the whole earth with holy thunder, who leaves us breathless in awe and wonder, the King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. Amazing grace, this is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross, you will lay down your life, that I would be set free. That you've done for me. Who brings out chaos back into order? Who makes the orphan a son and daughter? The King of glory, the King of glory, who rules the nations with truth and justice, shines like the sun in all of its brilliance. The King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross, you will lay down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Sing, worthy is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross, you would lay down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus. darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dead. We sing, praise the Father. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. To reveal the kingdom come, and to reconcile the lost, to redeem the whole creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering you saw to the other side, knowing this was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. In the morning that you rose, all of heaven held its breath, till that stone was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered death. And the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe, for the souls of all who'd come to the Father are restored. And the Church of Christ was born, then the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of hope shall not kneel, shall not fade. By His blood and in His name, in His freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has resurrected me. Sing it out, lift up our praise. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise forever to the King of Kings.
So it's a real honour and a pleasure to be sharing with you all today. Although we're spread out in various places, we are definitely together in spirit, and God connects us all wherever we are. And so we've been enjoying the contribution of the kids to our church community service today, and so in all their roles, I hope that God has been speaking to you through them so far. And as we hinted at earlier, we heard about in our Bible reading, the theme that we're exploring today is the future hope that we have in Jesus' return and what that means for our physical bodies. There's a big change that's going to happen, and that has to happen if we're to someday live in a new creation that doesn't include sin or death. So first, I'd like to talk about our hearts. No, not the blood pump in your chest, but the place where your deepest beliefs and motivations come from. Because it says in the Bible that God made human beings in His own image. and also that he's planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people can't see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. That's in Ecclesiastes 3:11. But even though we can't see the whole scope of God's work, we can see a little part of it, I believe. And by looking into our hearts and matching that up with the Bible, I'm going to have a look into what the heart of humanity is like. And let's see what's in there.
And that is going to be the challenge.
Luckily, we don't actually need to look very far because God has given us a shortcut. Because do you know how you tell what's in people's hearts? You just look at where their treasure is.
It's treasure!
So Matthew 6:21 says, wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. So another way of saying it, nowadays you might have heard the saying, money talks.
Money talks.
Well, what does money say about the human heart? Mine and yours and everyone else in the world. Well, let's see what the numbers say. So I did a bit of research and found out that out of the 30 highest grossing films of all time, the ones that have made the most money worldwide, 23 of them are either comic book superhero movies or movies about people with superpowers. And yes, I'm including the Furious movies for obvious reasons. So altogether, they've made around $70 billion in box office sales just by people going to the cinemas, and that doesn't include the merchandise. Or what about sports? We seem to love watching people with special athletic abilities just as much as movie heroes. The top 10 most valuable sporting leagues in the world make a total of $80 billion a year. That's about the same as the entire Apple Corporation, and that's only the top 10 leagues. And what about the Olympics? The most expensive Olympics of all time was the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics in Russia. That cost them $74 billion to put on. And the 2008 Beijing Olympics cost China $64 billion. And so the money tells us our heart's desire is to see extraordinary people doing seemingly impossible things. That makes sense, right? But why are we so obsessed with people with special abilities? Now, I think that it points to the fact that we have a love for something called transcendence. Now, that's a big word for just experiencing life that's better than normal. So because God, like we heard in the Bible just before, He's put eternity in our hearts, we have a longing to be extraordinary. We want to transcend this body that gets weak and hurt and wears out. And that's why everyone, to some degree, wants to watch superstars and superheroes, but I think it means that we also want to be superstars and superheroes, especially Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman-ing.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Obviously, sir.
So this is where I wanted to transition into the theme of hope.
Hope.
Hope. Hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear.
Remember, Red, hope is a good thing.
It's our hope that makes us human.
So the good thing is that I believe the reason God put a longing for transcendence in our hearts is that it's actually going to be what we experience in the very real future. So we're assured by the word of God that if we follow Jesus, He will take our weak mortal bodies and change them into glorious bodies like His own someday. So that's what we look forward to the most. That's what we hope for. That's transcendence. Hope makes anything bearable. We can get through anything if you believe that the things will get better in the future. Especially if what you hope for is nothing short of eternal perfection. So Romans 8:18 says, "Yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory He'll reveal to us later." Think of it. What is our hope? What's our new body like? 1 Corinthians 13:12 says, "All I know now is partial and incomplete, but then, in the future, I'll know everything completely, just as God knows me completely. So our mind will be made perfect in knowledge of God. And 2 Corinthians 5:1 says, "For we know that when we die, we leave this earthly body, and we'll have an eternal body made for us by God himself and not by human hands. We grow weary in our present bodies, and we long to put on our heavenly bodies like new clothes. For we will put on heavenly bodies. We will not be spirits without bodies." So our bodies and spirits will be made perfect too. And finish it all off, Revelation 21:4 says about us in our new bodies that God will wipe every tear from our eyes, and there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. And all these things are gone forever. So our lives will be made perfect as well. So here we stand in these weak, deteriorating bodies, longing and hoping for transcendence, while death and sorrow and crying and pain are all around us. And unfortunately, when it comes to suffering,
we can't go over it.
We can't go over it.
We can't go under it.
We can't go under it.
We're just gonna have to go through it.
If I have to. Squish, squish, squish.
But on the other side of it, there's something even better than laser eyes or super strength, but a perfect heavenly life in perfect relationship with God himself in a perfect body. So that's what I'm hoping for. But until then, I'm going to enjoy watching people achieve amazing things beyond the normal abilities of human beings. And I encourage you, as you watch your next movie or cheer on the transcendent abilities of your favourite athletes or musicians, you can remind yourself that transcendence will be yours and mine.
Oh yes, it will be mine.
If we persevere with Jesus through this time in our lowly earthly bodies. So, to finish off our service, we're going to enjoy the special abilities of a couple of emerging superstars in our own midst, who are going to finish our service with a song and a short animation that I hope encourages you as we go about our week. And also, I'd like to encourage you that if anything in our service has moved you or got you thinking about bigger questions, or if you're in need of prayer support, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us by using any of the details along the bottom of the screen. I'll give you 10 seconds to write them down if you need to, while I finish off with a massive thank you to all the kids who've contributed to the service today. And also a big thank you to the parents who sent in all their videos of the kids, and Joel for helping out massively with the music and overlays. This would have been a very, very boring service if it wasn't for you guys. So to you I say, thank you.
You can't see hope. It's like a seed hidden in the ground. You have to wait, but you wait differently. You wait knowing good is coming. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see.